welcome everyone to the November 7th, 2023 meeting of the Goffstown Zoning Board of Adjustment. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Few ground rules. The Goffstown Zoning Board is an elected board of 5 members and 5 appointed alternates. Currently, the board has 5 members and 1 alternate. If you're interested in serving on the ZBA, please contact the Town Hall Planning and Zoning Office. The board has a posted agenda for each meeting and tends to follow the items in order. The board will open a public hearing on an application to receive testimony from the applicants, abutters, and affected parties, and ask questions about the request. The public hearing will then be closed and the board will enter into a deliberative session to discuss the merits of the request. For each application, the board will decide to approve with conditions, deny, or continue to a later meeting. You're welcome to watch the deliberations this evening, or you can contact the zoning and planning office at Town Hall in the morning to get the results. For an applicant's request to be approved, there must be an affirmative vote of at least at least 3 members. An applicant can request a continuance if there is not a full 5-member board to act on an application. We have 4 elected members and 1 alternate here this evening, so we do have a full board. If you're aggrieved by a decision made by the ZBA tonight, you have the right to appeal to the Superior Court. However, before appealing to the Superior Court, you must request a rehearing with this board to preserve your right to appeal. Rehearing request must be filed within 30 days of the decision and state all reasons why the decision was unlawful or unreasonable. Failure to request a rehearing may forfeit your ability to appeal to the Superior Court. Please silence your cell phones for the remainder of the meeting. And I ask the board to introduce themselves, starting on that end with Jack, please.
My name is Jack Shepard, Building Inspector, Code Enforcement Officer, and Zoning.
I'm Gail Lebrecht, Member and Recording Secretary.
Denise Langley, Vice Chair.
Leonard Stewart, Chairman.
Judy Elaine, member.
Alan Yaton, member.
With the board's consent, I'd like to appoint Judy as the voting alternate on all matters tonight. You're appointed, Judy.
Thank you.
Okay, looking at the minutes of the October 3rd meeting, does anyone have corrections to offer?
I motion we approve the minutes.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Minutes approved. Okay, first matter on the agenda tonight. Mark and Patricia Brunton, applicants' owners, are seeking a variance to add a garage to an existing single-family home that will be approximately 6.8 feet from the side property line, whereas a 15-foot setback is required per section 4.3, the Table of Dimensional Regulations of the Goffstown Zoning Ordinance. The property is located at 17 3rd Avenue, map 39, lot 5-17, zone residential 1. If the Bruntons are here or anyone representing them, please come on up to the table, identify yourself.
Hi, how you doing? Name is
Doing
Mark.
well. Tell us about your project.
Name first and
Mark
last.
Brunton.
Thank
and I
you.
live at the property at 17 Third Ave. The current garage doesn't function well. We can't actually, the way the driveway is, the garage is situated to the driveway, it's like perpendicular, so we can't actually drive into the garage.
You're able-
We have to hook,
make-
yeah, you have to bang it like a left to try and get in. My wife's car can barely get in there, but my truck definitely can't get in.
Looking at your plan, you're planning to do other renovations
Yeah.
to the property in conjunction with
Yeah.
the garage?
Yeah. Looking to put on two like shed dorm, two little doghouse dormers on the front, a little bump out, just to give it a little bit more curb appeal.
Looking for the right pages. Here, you want to talk a little bit about your application? I don't know if you have a copy of your request for variance,
I
There-
did not bring one, no, thank you.
but Jack has one
Thanks,
for
sir.
you. You don't have to repeat word for word, but if you want to just go through the various criteria there, this is already part of it. Anything you'd like to add or expand to what you've said on the application?
No, just, you actually want me to read down through the variance, why we think we need it?
What is the hardship that you feel justifies of the inability to make proper use
We
of
just,
the
we just,
existing
we just can't get into the garage with the orientation of the garage door. With the way it's like situated with the driveway, when we drive down the driveway, we can't get into the garage because the driveway is only like maybe 16 or 18 feet wide. And it's just almost impossible to get into the garage.
How far from the property line is the current garage?
I believe it is 26 feet.
Any questions from board members?
I'd like to know, are there any special or different aspects to the property that make it so that you require to have it so close to the property line as compared to the other one, which is 20-some feet?
No, but the current garage, even if we were trying to put the door like the garage door facing the street, the garage is not deep enough, it's only like 20 feet. The existing garage is only like 20 feet, so you can't even park a car in the existing garage.
Okay.
Alan?
When I visited the site, I think probably the topography of the lot is probably the challenging aspect, is it slopes extremely down. So if you think about the street, it slopes down already a full floor just to get in the garage in about 25 feet. So it's also steep.
Okay, so it makes it extremely difficult to have to swing out wide and,
Yeah, it's basically, the geometry is difficult.
And looking at the neighborhood too, it also, a lot of the houses are very close to the property lines. This area has
Yeah,
been brought to
they-
us many times
and
for the same reason.
that
A lot of
area-
times adding a garage.
That area is packed in very tightly.
I had just one crazy question. What is that piece of property, that strip of property between the lots, between Third Street and Second Avenue?
Is that
Is
a
that-
paper road?
Is it, huh?
Is it a paper road?
I don't know what it's for. It's not listed as being owned by anybody? When you try to find it on the GIS?
That- Yeah,
Is this it
There's
right
a 25-foot strip that runs from Summer Street all the way the length of all those house lots, except for Mr. Booth's.
Of course, yeah, that's it,
Well, that has no bearing
Yeah.
right there.
on the current application, so I wish we could answer your rhetorical questions, Alan.
Just brings up some craziness that happens.
Well, that's an older neighborhood anyway, and many things happen in older neighborhoods around. Denise, anything from you?
No, I looked at the plans, I think they're pretty thorough, I mean, you know, they're tight on the other side of their property line, but, I mean, you live in New Hampshire, they need a garage that is feasible. I think it fit, the project's beautiful, and I think it fits into the neighborhood, I don't have any issues with that.
Alan said, that, you know, if there are questions about topography as
Correct,
well as
yes.
That's not so.
Hey,
This doesn't show that, that's
Gail,
funny, this is way
anything from
off.
you?
I don't have a problem with it, no, I have no more questions.
Judy, all
No.
set?
No, no, sir.
Okay,
Oh, I make a motion to find no regional impact.
Oh, good
Cool.
job.
Thank you. Sorry.
Second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, procedural thing we forgot in the first instance. You can step back, Mr. Brunton, I'll just continue the public
Okay.
hearing. If there's anybody
Thank you.
in the audience who wants to speak or offer anything on this application for or against, please come up. Going once, going twice. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. And let's deliberate on this application.
I think it's a great plan. And I just noticed too how this plot was not defined properly, our graph. See the dashed lines? Yeah. So it makes more sense now that I see this also. I looked at all the other
Oh.
plans for sizing, that's all. So of course it's just a straight shot, so.
And I see no
No,
I see
I have
no
no issue
problems
with
with
that.
this plan either. Would someone like to make a motion?
Yes. Can I?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
please do.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to grant the variance requested to Mark and Patricia Brunton at 17 Third Ave to add a garage to an existing single-family home. And it will be approximately 6.8 feet from the side property line, whereas 15 feet side setback is required per section 4.3. And with the steepness of the driveway, spirit of the ordinance is observed because the steepness of the driveway, there's no way, especially with the weather we get here and the severe floods or snow or ice, can make that left-hand curve into the driveway without extreme issues. And with the privacy in the neighborhood, it just perfectly affects the landscaping and everything. Nothing will be diminished. The properties will not be
Property
diminished
values?
in the area at all. It'll be a great addition.
What about hardship?
The unnecessary hardship would be, I would think, the conditions of weather impacting the severity of the driveway with and/or flooding situations that they have at that lower level. You basically, when you pull in, you're at the second level from the street view of the house, is how severe that degree angle is. And a hardship to not give this makes their life more difficult.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you for the sound effects, Judy. We don't usually get them. Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? You have your variance, Mr. Brunton. Thank you very much.
Judy, you may not know it, but you went, wee! She's looking at you, you're crazy. Well, we enjoyed it. Denise. Who gave me that?
And she's way ahead of you.
Good job, that's for sure.
All right, the next item up tonight is going to be Eric Buck of Terrain Planning and Design, LLC, the applicant, and Mark and Joanne Gamache, owners, seeking a variance for deck expansion and other on-site improvements. It will be approximately 7.8 feet from the surface water of Glen Lake, whereas 100-foot setback is required per section 13.3.3.5 of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The property is located at 176 Elm Street, map 36, lot 80, zoned residential 1, and wetlands surface water conservation overlay district. Mr. Buck, I presume.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Go ahead with your application.
Motion
Look,
to
so
find the
let
application
regional
has-
impact.
Motion to find it has no regional impact.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr.
Now,
Chairman.
sir, thank you.
Yes. My name is Eric Buck. I'm a landscape architect with Terrain Planning and Design. We're here tonight representing Mark and Joanne Gamache at 176 Elm Street. 176 Elm Street is a 0.2 of an acre lot located on Glen Lake with 59 feet of shore frontage. There's an existing non-conforming house as well as an existing non-conforming garage. The origination of this project is the need to replace the failing retaining wall along Glen Lake. And so the retaining wall that encompasses the entire 59 feet of their frontage is deteriorated. It's causing erosion, undermining of the existing patio, and eventually will cause issues structurally for the house. In order to properly reconstruct this retaining wall, the deck that is there now, the existing deck, which has access to the first floor elevation, needs to be removed. We are planning to reconstruct that deck in its current footprint with the addition of a small catwalk that I have shown here in purple that will allow access to the front door elevation. So they'll be able to walk safely from where the front door is around to the deck on the side. Because the existing non-conforming house and all other structures are within the wetland surface water conservation district overlay, we are here tonight seeking variance to be able to reconstruct the deck as a part of the retaining wall reconstruction project, and then add the catwalk, which will be more nearly conforming than the existing deck that's there now. The existing deck is about 1 inch from the reference line of Glen Lake. This proposed catwalk is going to be 7 foot 8 inches back. So we're not increasing the nonconformity by making this addition on the deck. In totality, the whole project has a decrease of impervious surface of over 1,200 square feet. We're replacing all of the existing concrete patios with a pervious paver. We're also, as I mentioned, rebuilding a proper shoreline wall, which will decrease erosion, increasing native vegetation in the plant bed areas, and all in all making the site much safer and usable for the Gamaches. We have received both our Comprehensive Water Quality Protection Act, the shoreline permit from New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, as well as our wetlands impact permit, which allows the construction of the patio surfaces and the retaining wall within the Glen Lake shorefront. Last week, my colleague was at the Conservation Commission, and I believe that they responded to you folks with a letter. I don't know if that's come from you or not, but that was the takeaway from that meeting. So a couple things, as you know, in your ordinance, 13.3.6.7, Fences, footbridges, and catwalks are allowed, provided that they allow unobstructed flow of water, do not change the natural contour of the land, and do not destroy native vegetation. And also 13.3.9, exemptions from the WSWC district regulations. Structures and uses lawfully existing in the WSWC district at the time of the adoption of this ordinance may be expanded or extended, provided the expansion or extension does not encroach further upon the wetland or water surfaces. I will just paraphrase our criteria. You have a lot of applications in front of you tonight. Number one, granting the variance will not be contrary to the public interest because granting this variance allows the Gamashes to rebuild a deck that has always been there and provide safe access from the first floor of the house around to said deck. If granted, the variance maintains the spirit of the ordinance, would be observed. Again, it's keeping consistency with the architecture and the home that's already there. It's also consistent with the other neighboring properties. Almost every house within 3 or 4 lots of this one have a very close adjacency to Glen Lake, very similar deck, lakeside deck type structures, patios, retaining walls, all that sort of thing. It's very consistent with the neighborhood. It would do substantial justice because it would allow the Gamashes to replace their failing retaining wall and then reconstruct the deck, as I said, that has always been there. The value of the surrounding properties would not be diminished because this is a consistent overall look with what is going on in that neighborhood. No fair and substantial relationship exists between the general purpose of the proposed project and the denial of the applicant's plan. Denial of the requested variance will do nothing to contribute to the public's health, safety, and welfare. And the final point, the proposed use is a reasonable one because, again, we're essentially rebuilding an existing structure that's there. We're just making a safe access way for them to get to the front door. So, happy to answer any questions.
Can I? The Conservation Commission, I do their minutes, and they made a motion to recommend to the planning board approval of the relief from the outer 100-foot wetlands, which is what the planning board does, Wetland Surface Water Conservation District buffer, because they see material improvements to this area, including the area within the buffer. And they didn't see any negative impacts, and they do see a lot of positive impacts. So this was to the planning board's portion of this, but I would think the same would pretty much apply to the zoning.
Yeah, I think the fact that this substantially reduces nonconformity of the property, reduces impervious, generally makes lakeside improvements. I see no problems with this project.
I don't either, and I appreciate the packet that was put together. It was very informative.
Thank you.
Alan, Judy, anything?
No, I liked the project to begin with, yeah.
Anything?
Can you tell us about the turtles?
As a part of the New Hampshire DES shoreline and wetland application process, we have to do a Natural Heritage Bureau inventory study. So the Natural Heritage Bureau monitors endangered species, flora and fauna throughout the state of New Hampshire. And so anytime a project comes up that has any kind of endangered species within a certain proximity of it, it triggers a further inventory study. And so the wood turtle does reside within a certain proximity to this project, so we had to work with Fish and Game to make sure that our impact was not going to be adverse on the wood turtle's environment, and they found that it was not going to.
How long did you wait for that permit?
Longer than we wanted to.
Just putting it out there for everybody to understand that.
All right, anything else, sir? Otherwise, I'll ask for public comment. Anyone in the audience who wishes to comment on this project, please come on up. All right, hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and we will deliberate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve the variance, wait a minute, let me get there. The variance for deck expansion and other on-site improvements that will be located approximately 7.8 feet from the surface water of Glen Lake, whereas 100-foot setback is required per section 13.3.3.5 of the zoning ordinance, for the very same reasons of what the conservation comments were.
Okay, as far as positive impact, etc. Okay,
I'll second that.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstaining? Thank you, Mr. Book. You have your variance.
Thank you, Robert.
If you want to stay and listen and maybe
Let's
join the
figure out,
board,
you know, what-
we're always looking for
Yeah.
members.
Yeah.
Up here.
We can
You know,
always use
have an
alternates.
idea the next time, maybe if I come in, we'll send you the book.
That was
all right?
it.
Have a good night. Thank
Teach
you.
teach them how to speak.
Yes.
Not nice.
Okay, no more levity, please.
Too late.
Have to have humor.
All right,
Really
the
are
next
out of control.
The next case up is BVSD 23 LLC and Charles Farley, applicants' owners, are seeking a special exception to build a single-family home with an attached accessory dwelling unit. The accessory dwelling unit is allowed by special exception per section 3.12.A.6, Table of Accessory Uses, and section 5.2 of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The property is located at Sari Drive, map 4, lot 25-4-2, zoned conservation and open space. Please identify yourself, sir, and tell us about your project.
I'm Charles Farley. Yeah, building a small single-family home with a 600-foot ADU, which my daughter was supposed to live in, but she's lobbying to live in the house and put me in the ADU.
Tell her you need more gray hair first.
I may agree to this, figuring that things will even out when I become a burden on her in my old age, so we'll see how it goes.
This is new construction, no existing home on the property now,
Right.
correct?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll make a motion to find the application has no regional impact.
Go ahead, Gail.
It's only 'cause-
Second.
It's only because I have it written here.
yeah. Vote on regional impact. All in favor?
Aye.
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 What would you all like to know?
Let's see, well, let's see, you don't have to address the hardship, so you get out easy.
Yes.
Oh, I
Really, there's
appreciate
not
that.
a whole lot, I don't have really any questions on it
Yeah,
because
when you're looking at everything.
I believe I'm meeting all the requirements.
it's all you need is permission to to build the ADU because it's a requirement to get a special exception for it, but you don't have any issues with the land itself. That's the way I'm seeing it.
Correct.
And it's a 5-acre plot, you're meeting all the setbacks all around.
Oh, yeah.
I loved his answers.
Every answer is it's a 5-acre lot.
I don't blame you, I know, these things are.
Large private site, 5-acre lot.
They're already, they're all met.
Setbacks are 165 feet or greater. Wow. Okay.
Alan, Judy, any questions on that side?
We show them all. This is pretty easy.
No, nothing to say that state law entitles them to,
Oh, yeah.
special exception.
Oh, yes.
That's right, no, that's right.
So, with that, we've really got nothing to ask you, sir, so I'll ask if there's anybody in the audience who has any comments or wishes to speak on this application. Please come forward. Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing and we'll deliberate.
Ready? I motion that we give him the special exception because he meets all the requirement and he's not asking for a larger ADU unit than what's required in the town.
And he submitted plans showing how that ADU
Yes.
would be constructed over
Yes.
the garage.
All right. So is that a motion?
It is?
Is that a second? Do we have a second? You got it.
Second.
Okay.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstaining? No. You're all set, sir?
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Say hello to Cindy and Jeff.
Oh,
Am I-
do I know them?
This one.
I think
You
so.
should. The name's on the plans. Cindy Nye, Jeff Buffalo.
I don't know who that is.
Okay.
Should I know them?
You should.
You will after you pay them.
Thank you.
Can't be like Alan who knows everybody in town, so. And,
The question is, where'd he go?
all right, and the last case tonight is the Smith Family Trust, Heather and Christopher Smith, applicants and owners, seeking a variance to build a single-family house on a non-conforming lot, 8 feet from each side property boundary, whereas 15 feet is required. This concerns section 4.3, the table of dimensional regulations of the Goffstown zoning ordinance. The property is located at 135 Moose Club Park, map 19, lot 45, zoned residential 2. I'll entertain a regional impact
So
motion.
So made.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, go ahead, folks. Please identify yourself for the record and tell us about your project.
I'm Christopher Smith.
My name's Heather Smith.
Tim McGibbon, I'm the realtor.
Um,
I have a quick little overview if you hand
Could
it out real
you
quick.
tell me
just-
your last name and
McGibbon,
want to spell it?
McGibbon.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I
That's just
wasn't
an
hearing
overview
a V in there.
and full application. Just an overview and full application.
Thank you.
Overview, full application. Overview, full application. The names are probably going to be incorrect on the second page.
All right, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
So, tell us about it. I think we've seen, did we not see this project a
Yes.
couple of months back and then it was
Not
withdrawn
this one.
afterward?
May in 2021?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, we had approached.
That means I've been doing this for way too long, I'm afraid.
There was a
Well-
variance to request to build a single-family home. Same thing as what's here.
The same exact thing. A few months ago, there was someone that was looking to purchase the property, and I think they had applied for a variance, but
Okay, that's,
that
I
fell
looked,
through.
I looked at the
Right,
card and realized
okay.
it was the same property, so pardon my confusion.
Right, no
I know, I
problem.
was like,
So they applied and never showed up. And they called the next day and canceled. So here we are. So,
Yes, now you're refreshing my
yeah,
memory.
so
on that.
2021, you guys approved it 5, right across the board. It expired actually May 5th, 2023. We just reapplied and they actually got the shoreline impact permit back in 2021 as well, and it's good for 5 years. So it's basically the same exact application that's been presented to you guys 3 times now. And nothing's changed. Footprint, nothing's changed.
it's all exactly the same. And for the people who have been on this board forever, the dinosaurs of the group, have there been any zoning changes since it was approved?
No.
Okay, thank you. I think I was on the board then, but I don't remember.
If I could ask a question, from the retaining wall that I saw, right after the retaining wall, that's the town of Goffstown's hill?
Mhm.
Or do you have any of that hill?
It goes up to the
Rail trail.
the rail trail, I believe.
You own all the way up to the rail trail?
I believe so.
There's a
Oh.
small setback that's
Yeah.
From the rail
buffers the rail trail, but yes, up until that setback, it
Oh,
is part of the
okay.
property.
Oh, so you do, yeah, you do own
And that,
So the property extends beyond the retaining wall.
that, beyond the retaining
well,
wall.
that retaining wall used to be the foundation of the
Of the
building
real-
that used to
original
be
building.
there.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Is the footprint of the new building, just refresh my memory, going to be the same as the old?
Same.
Same thing?
The application is literally the same.
What about the building that was there originally?
No, it is not the same
Okay.
footprint as the building is there, because the
Can you
building.
tell me the difference without me having to go read through it? Like what-
The foundation of the building that was there
Mm-hmm.
basically went property line to property line
In the width,
in the width.
okay?
And we're looking to more do the length.
The length versus the width.
So we would
Right.
be less non-conforming than the original property was.
Okay, thank you.
And certainly anything that's put on that site would improve the looks of it.
Yes.
I'm curious, do you have, are you getting city sewage, city water?
There are hookups there for
There are
both.
hookups, yeah.
Yes. Previously,
Alan,
previously there.
anything?
I'm good. I mean, I think I've heard this same case, and I feel the same today as I did then.
It's, I think one of those things that keeps coming back. I have no questions or problems with it.
When we first heard it, the existing building in a dilapidated state was still partially on the site.
Yes.
That's correct. Was.
Was operative word.
Denise,
I have no
Gail,
questions
anything?
right now.
All right, anything, with that, if there's nothing else you'd like to add, I'll ask if there's any members of the audience who would like to speak. I do see a hand in back. Please, come on up to the table, have a seat, and identify yourself, and, tell us what you'd like to tell us.
Hi, I'm Donna Mason.
And I'm Tim Mason. We are the owners of the property at 137 Moose Club Park Road. The direct abutter.
137?
Yes.
137, direct abutter to this property. And so I believe a couple of years ago, prior to these people owning the property, the previous owner is the one that tore down the dilapidated building and was going to build a non-conforming structure on that property. And that's probably what you have had before you prior. We received no notice of this variance until just recently for this particular structure. Our concern with building a non-conforming building on that lot that close to our property line is that during the winter months, the sun coming up over that hill doesn't approach an angle of more than 40 degrees, and a two-story structure that close to the property line is going to cast a shadow completely over our property, removing sunlight during those months. And that would impact our property in that we'll be constantly shaded, and therefore the mold and lichen problem that you have on the roofs in that neighborhood will increase, requiring more maintenance on our part, and as well as increase our heating bills because we'll have no sun hitting that side of the house. That's our concerns.
Okay, since I don't have a map in front of me, if I'm looking at the lot from the street, which side are you on? To the left
We're on
or
the
to
right side of the-
To the right side.
Correct.
From the street.
The previous dilapidated structure that was there that fell down was only a single story.
It was only one?
And the back.
It was only a single story, and
The back part was
the back part of the house that went property line to property line was only about 8 feet deep. So it didn't even overlap the boundaries of the structures. The rest of the house was set back considerably from our property line, because it was shaped more like an L.
8 feet from our property line doesn't give a lot of space between the houses, and that's our concern too.
About how far is your home from your property line?
12 feet.
On that side, 12 feet? Is that garage still out there in the front?
There's a shed.
There's a shed in the front,
Still
yes.
there?
Yeah,
It was there when we bought it.
Okay, but it's on the property line,
it is,
okay?
but it's only
Can you read my scribbles?
10 feet high.
I know what it is, I've been down there. Okay. So what they're proposing actually increases the setbacks that were existing when the old house was there, by making a narrower house. So they are increasing that setback, because there was no setback on the rear portion of the existing home that was there, on that side.
Only on part of that,
Right, on the very rear of it.
correct.
Do you normally get shaded in the summertime because of the fact that it's such a slope uphill to the rail trail?
Not in the summertime.
Winter.
Not in the
We're
summertime?
talking about the winter.
You get dappled shade in the wintertime because of the trees on the hill, but they don't have leaves on them, so it's
Yeah.
not a full
Okay.
shadow.
All right, thank you.
Sun rises here in the summer. The sunrise would be here.
Plant head to the north arrow, whatever.
Yes, I know.
Denise.
Yes.
Like, who you calling Diane? Yeah, we have it. We turned the pages around. We got it. Thank you. As we're like twisting it around. I don't know where I put it, but you're all
East,
right
west,
with that.
north, south. That's how it comes out, it doesn't come out any
I
other
like
way.
this.
Oh, okay, so yeah, we're seeing the exact tilt.
I guess we're wondering why why it has to be 8 feet. You know, there should be enough room to make a smaller house, a longer house.
More conforming with the other properties in that neighborhood.
Yeah, okay.
Are we done?
Well,
Oh, if there's any other questions.
they're all pretty close to the property lines down there.
But they're all
It's
single
just the way
story.
they go.
Yeah, they're single-story homes.
Huh?
They're all
They're mostly
single-story homes,
single-story homes.
so they don't create a big impact on their butters.
Did they ever build across the street from you?
Yes.
In that corner lot?
Yeah.
What'd they build there?
There's a double-story house.
Two-story
Yeah.
house?
That's
I
right,
thought so.
but
Very tiny.
Not even
Granted a
close,
variance for that.
but it's separated by roadways on each side, so it's not close to any of the abutters.
Well,
well,
that's true.
backside,
Oh, I'm hard pressed to see how you can build a house any narrower than about 30 feet. If you're only looking 47.5 minus 16 in setbacks, you're only looking at a building width of 30 feet there, which is about the size of a double wide essentially.
If they complied to 15 feet, they'd have a 17.5 wide house as well.
I don't think that
Right.
works.
Right.
Shotgun house.
It doesn't work, my house isn't 24 feet wide.
Have they complied with the setbacks that have what?
This, I'm just going by this 17.5. I didn't do the math myself. Please.
Just as a note,
Okay.
a lot of the older homes in that area are only 24 foot wide or deep. I think yours is.
One part of my yard is only 30 feet
Yeah.
wide,
So you're confronted with problems.
and
now
it gets
because of
narrower on one
tightness
end
of the
and wider
neighborhood.
on the other end.
And now you're only gonna make it worse by allowing a house that's larger than everybody else's house to sit on the same size lot. We don't have a problem with a house being built there, that's, you know, would improve the neighborhood.
Yep.
But it's the size of the house that's being built.
Yeah.
That's our concern,
The size of the width of the house,
the width and the height.
and the height. Okay.
Based on the plans that I saw, the structure that's being proposed to be built is 2 stories high, which will put the height of the house minimum of 24 feet high on the ridge line, possibly more than that, which at a 40-degree angle is gonna cast a 30-foot shadow, maybe more.
Okay, this gives us an opportunity to ask the, you know, are the owners yet? Or the future owners?
applicants?
The applicants, some questions.
Okay, you're set?
For now, thank you.
Are you closing the public hearing then?
No, I'd like to ask the applicants questions now, based on
Yeah.
They
their
just gotta
questions.
close the public hearing.
Not to ask the applicants questions. Or does, no? I see what you're
Usually you
saying.
do, usually you do.
No, no.
All right, procedurally, I'll defer to Gail's expertise, and we'll close the public hearing and ask the applicants to come back up so
Then we have a
that
chance to respond.
they can respond to some of the questions that were posed.
Can I start with the questions of that?
Yep.
Thank you. So I don't see a plan in our packet. So you're asking us to approve something that we cannot see.
The plan was submitted along with the original variance in 2021, so you do have a copy of the plan somewhere. But I will say that I actually designed this house specifically for that lot to try to take into account all of the factors in those extremely narrow lots. And the plan was to push the house as far back and literally build it into that slope so that the house would be set much further back than
30 feet?
than
Is
the
that correct?
original structure. I would have to double check looking at
I'm
these
looking at
numbers here.
this.
But yeah, at least that much.
And what was the original structure?
So the original structure, I believe, let's see here,
It was much closer.
was much
At
closer.
least going by what the driveway was there, because the original structure wasn't there when we
We have
saw it.
pictures, don't we?
In the tax
Hang
card?
on, Property card.
Tech, yeah, property card should have that.
There's the proposed. Yes. So what we have here is, I mean, the lot has been vacant for quite a while, obviously, so if you, I mean, I can imagine it'd be nice to get used to an empty, nobody there next to you, you know, for a long time. But their house, their house is pushed very close to the Moose Club Park Road, far in the front, and as you mentioned, they do have a structure that's encroaching on this property here too, on our property as well. But we were going to, the plan was to push it back as far as we possibly could so that we did not impact, or we would minimally impact everyone else's view, their, you know, the sun and all those things as well. It's kind of hard to see it just with the footprint here, but
It's about 5 pages from the end.
yes, the plan was to push back as far as we could against that slope.
Okay. And
just
so
looking
you
for
still
that
have
one page.
71 feet according to the diagram.
71 feet is a little bit, it's misleading because that is a very steep slope.
Yep.
And it's covered in trees.
So this 71 feet, so let's see, the proposed dwelling is here and it
Correct.
ends there. Is that the existing retaining wall?
That is approximately the location of the existing retaining wall that we would take down and then build, which is also not, we can't even use it because it's not plumb or anything. It's sort of degrading down. So we would rebuild that retaining wall as close to that slope and embedded as much into that slope as we could.
The first floor is completely embedded, or, I mean, how much of the,
It would be as, we weren't sure because we don't know until we actually get in there to see how much we can push it back. But yes, it would be essentially the entire back half of the first floor. So the back side of the house would appear to be only a one-story because of the way that the slope
Yep,
is.
okay.
I'm not using the right language, I apologize,
no,
but I'm
that's
trying to
fine, that's
explain
fine.
it
No,
as.
it's, so, I'm getting some information here, so this is good. Okay, just want to make sure we're all clear on what we're talking about. So, this would be the property that was torn out?
Yeah, yes, I believe so.
Where did you
So
get that?
Jack had
It's
it.
in the folder.
So,
Okay.
right, I see a tree line.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So this house pretty much goes to the tree line. How much further would, I'm gonna bring this to you. if
Sure,
that's okay.
that would be great, thank
We're
you.
just trying to get a perspective on where it's gonna be 2 stories, where it's not gonna be 2 stories.
Absolutely. Well,
Um,
and it's actually, it also isn't, the bottom half is actually just a raised basement. It's not it's a single living home, but it is raised up on a walkout basement is what it is. That bottom, the lower level is completely unfinished. It's a
Okay.
garage and a basement section. And then the second, what they're calling the second floor, it's actually just the main floor of the house.
Is, just a question.
What-
Is this being raised for the flood reasons? or-
Correct, well, that would be, that's partially the reason,
Okay, so
yes.
that's kind of a requirement to go up.
Yes, we don't want to build something and then have, 5 years down the line, have one of those 100-year floods. That will, and that's also the reason that we're keeping the entire lower level just unfinished, concrete basement
Okay.
with a 2-car garage.
Okay. So,
Do you want to see that?
does
So you can see the
anybody
perspective of
have,
the
do you have
whole
a
building.
schematic of your proposed building?
We did, we thought it was with the,
Should be in that file, if not, I actually
You
have it on the phone, but
Yes.
The question would be, if you took the fact that the house is about 44 foot long, as shown on their site plan,
Mhm.
so it's about 1,000 square foot on the upper floor.
Where did you get 40 feet? Where are you?
I subtracted things, I added things
Oh.
and subtracted things from the total depth.
No, I'm just, I get it, the 30 feet, blah, 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 70 feet, blah, blah, blah.
that's the previous structure.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a previous structure as well.
Yeah.
So what's the height of
I've been
your new
down
one?
there and I've seen the lot in its current condition.
Right, that's
Fine.
fine.
That was about the same.
is it?
With the
18
big-
feet,
See,
18 feet to the,
yes,
no, peak
To
is
the peak?
probably another
26.
6.
because, yeah, my son-in-law has a raised basement right next to me over there. Yep, okay.
That's what that should be.
So the first level is really
Flood
up a little
and
bit.
garage.
Yeah, yeah.
So, the need to do that is based upon the fact that you have
Okay,
to
so
build
it's
floodproof
12 and 9.
Yes.
up to a certain
FEMA.
level.
So
Yes,
12,
FEMA.
so the first floor is, the basement floor is approximately 12 feet. And then the upper floor is approximately 9 feet without including the peak.
And do you know what, you don't know what the
Does
pitch
not
is?
include-
do you?
Does not include the peak.
Is it a steep pitch?
What's the?
12,
It's,
12?
it's,
Probably
I can show,
five,
you wanna
Yeah.
see, I can walk over and show you.
It appears to be a 5.
Alan, you'll be able to figure this out.
This is what the front of the structure looks like. So you can
Well,
see how
I-
there's the garage and then this is
Yeah.
the living section.
Ask him.
That's
what
no
it is.
problem.
Okay, it's a 10, 12, but
Yeah.
what do I know?
What is the,
So that's 12.
He'll know.
Then that's 9.
okay, this is what's below the
Yes,
ground.
yes, yep. And
Are
then
we getting too deep into the architectural details
Well,
that are
that'd be
really planning board's purview.
Just like a living
That's
work
what
area.
my
And
question
that's the living area.
is.
And the
Well,
length
they
of
go
the
to, well, I think the,
They're looking for relief from the setback, and as far as the additional stuff, they're willing to work with the neighbors to minimize the impact. I think this architectural details are more clear to the purview of the planning
the planning
board.
board doesn't say this, right?
This is not a project that would go to the
No,
planning
my
board.
question with that, and I agree with you, you know how I am always about that, is the roof pitch, the impact that the neighbors have said it's gonna create. So we're trying to get what the height is. Is that a 10-12 pitch? What is it? You think? Did you see it?
It's not 10-12, I can
Okay.
tell you that right
Yeah,
now.
10-12 be like that.
Yeah.
It's not.
6-12 at the most.
But the question
So it's not a
is,
steep roof.
if you take your GIS map that you've got in your folder,
Yeah.
and you put an X mark, it's horizontal and perpendicular. That's the north and south, east and west. Okay?
Okay.
So if you look at the sun doesn't
It's
come up
pretty good.
north of east, ever. And it doesn't set, it sets below west. So the afternoon sun is long on all of those in the summertime. In the morning sun, it comes right down the street, practically parallel to the street at sunrise. So, I don't think,
I think their question was winter.
winter's even lower,
Okay.
meaning
Yeah.
it's lower to the east. I mean, you can see it today,
I see
from
what
what
you're
it
saying.
was this
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah.
I don't think, I think what pushes them into something that's higher is the flood zone, FEMA regulations for building in the flood zone, period. And that creates its own hardship. Now, if you look at the other homes in the area that had to be repaired in those flood zones along the river, they've all been raised one floor with the garage underneath them, all of them. I did several of them. Huh?
Our house hasn't been raised above that flood zone, and neither has the butter on the other side.
You didn't ask. There's, you know, if you had wanted to do anything, you would have. And if you had flood damage, you would have been required to.
Right. Yeah, we don't have to.
And it's in the A zone.
Okay. I have what I need.
And when this was a house or semi-house, garage, workshop, I looked at buying this piece. I turned it down.
Oh, too bad, he would have been my neighbor.
Oh. Oh, shame on you.
Done.
Anything further, Denise?
I'm all set.
Gail?
I have the information I need.
Good.
Alan? You always have something.
I think they could make something that's narrower. Look at it this way, 2 garage doors and a pass door in the front. What's it take? It takes 25 feet. You're looking at 27 or 28 right now.
Well, once again, as I've said before, I don't think it's the purview of this board who dictate the details. That's a function of the planning.
No, that's not a function of the planning board, because this project never would have gone to the planning board, and you know it.
I think if the applicant is expressing a willingness to work with the abutters to minimize the abutters' concerns, you know, I think it's an improvement on both that individual lot and in the area, and, you know, you do what you can to adapt to the site. I don't find a great deal to object to in it.
I'm gonna agree with you on that. I was a little concerned on the height, but now that I looked at it and it was explained to me, I am okay with that. I like that they're pushing it back.
What's the distance that they show in their site plan as being back from the front property line?
It's 30 feet. It's more than the original house was.
So that 30 feet is about where the back of their garage is. The storage shed is where the house starts. It still doesn't improve any of the sunlight conditions that I can see.
Do you think it would be better to go closer to the property line and go, instead of them going along?
Right now, I
Deep?
think they're building the back of their proposed house where the existing retaining wall is, or generally speaking, in that location. They have to remove that retaining wall because of the structural condition of it and start over. Now, 12 feet on the first floor, 9-foot overhead door, 2-foot clearance is what? 11 feet? So 12 feet's not unheard of
Right.
for that. And then, but 9-foot ceilings in a place down there may not be practical, so you might gain a foot. Typical wall is 8 foot tall. 9 foot if you're building a big castle or something to that nature. But they can still do cathedral ceilings in their truss system or whatever they want to do for the roof. So they can create something in the plans. I think they have a reasonable plan that they wanted to build. It looks like it's well thought out.
Gail, Judy, anyone? I thought I smelled a question, building air, Gail.
I don't have a question. My
My
concern is, I do wish they had brought specific plans and not relied on our having them here. Because it was a few years ago, they're in the files, we have them here. But that said, what they're doing is a great improvement. So,
And a reasonable use
and,
of the
oh, yes.
property.
Yeah, I don't really have an issue with what they're doing. I just wish we'd had the plans to see the plans to do it.
And because, can we still include those into the minutes?
They already stated that the plans for this, what they're proposing here today, are the same as what was presented and approved in 2021. So they are held to that. They can't leave here today and then go change them,
Correct.
because that's what we are approving.
So if we were to approve it, could we say that they don't have to build them exactly? If they decide to go to a lower ceiling, that would be allowed?
Yeah, I think
If they're
it's-
working with the
I mean,
abutter.
the design of the house, to me, wouldn't matter so much as just the dimensions.
I think the height is the issue with the abutter, because of the shade.
Yeah, well, they could go lower. and-
Right,
and
so
put
that's
some
what I'm
not
saying.
higher.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to
But
get
our
at.
packet didn't include the correct, all the correct materials we're missing.
Can we ask the applicant, how many homes in the neighborhood have a garage underneath their home?
Are we closed? I really can't be asking questions.
We're,
No.
No, we're not closed.
Garage under.
I would
we
say
closed the
Up on
public
the hill.
hearing and
Yes, we did.
we were
on the
questioning
hill.
the applicants.
Yeah.
down there.
You
Not
want to
down
close
here.
out and
No
deliberate at
garage
this
on
point?
this outside.
Only if we don't have more questions
You
at
park
the
in
end.
the yard.
All right,
Yeah.
Alan, Judy, do we have any more further questions of the applicant? Because if we don't have any further questions of the again, I'm going to close out and we'll enter deliberations rather than just talking around the table on it.
No further questions?
Nothing further from me.
Nope.
All right, thank you, folks, you can step back.
Thank you.
We're going to deliberate now, thank you.
On Lower Moose Club Park, you have an under garage, somewhere you've seen them. Not Upper Moose
So,
Club. Upper Moose
I have a
Club
question.
has some.
Jack, this is gonna go to you, not that you were here in the past. Why wasn't a plan attached to
I
this?
don't know of anybody that has a garage.
When somebody comes in, they usually present that.
It was never presented. It was supposed to be a renewal of the old
Okay.
plan in 21. And that's where they have the roof truss plan here. And that's all that's in the folder.
So I think, just moving forward, right, because just because it's a renewal, you're always dealing with different people on the board.
Right.
So it's always good to have a complete package when people do that. I mean, would have made it a little easier.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I was here, but I don't remember. I know Alan
No.
who remembers
I
everything.
think we were all here in 21.
We were,
Mhm.
I've been here a while, yeah.
yeah. So we were all here, but
6
I don't
years or
remember.
something.
Yeah,
Actually recognize a few of you from the Zoom
But,
meeting.
Oh, the Zoom meeting.
No wonder I don't remember.
That was a Zoom meeting.
Oh, yeah,
Don't
that was,
even
that
go
was
there.
COVID.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
then, yeah.
Okay,
Don't like Zoom meetings. Cut it out.
that was a nightmare.
But think of it this way. If they had a single-story house without a garage underneath, how high would it have to be above the existing grade to exceed the flood level? Just to do it today. 4 feet.
I was gonna say 3, but
Yes.
yeah, 4 feet makes sense, half of the
The
foundation.
elevation would be about 4 feet.
Half of the
Right, with
foundation,
open,
yeah.
front and back open, so flow through.
4. Yep, with those breakaway windows where they push in and come back.
So with that being said, you're talking about somebody who's gonna put, to get what they want, probably need, they're gonna want a house, they're gonna want a garage, so that would take more space and probably push themselves closer to property lines.
Given the proximity of the houses to the street, you may start with something that's similar to the neighbors and work backwards. So,
Can you elaborate on that for a minute so I can,
so if they had surface parking,
uh-huh.
you put surface parking in the front yard. Like most people down there have parking right off the street. And then they have put the house, so they're back 20 feet. What is the front yard setback down here? I think it's 30 feet. So that's why they've started back 30 feet from the street, so they don't have a front yard setback problem. They have a side yard setback problem. They don't have a rear setback problem because they got all the land up to the railroad right of way. But that is like climbing Mount Everest in the backyard.
Well,
It's a lot of hardship for the neighbor, a lot of hardships for the neighbor. There's a lot of mold and algae growth down along that area.
On the siding too. Yeah.
Oh, sure, yeah, yeah.
Well, I don't know what we do. I think we're all kind of stuck somewhere, and I don't know if I can even do this, but I'm gonna try. I would like to continue this to the next meeting and see if the applicants are willing to revise their plan, so it's not quite as high. Gail, I got a shocked look in your face.
But we don't even have the, I'm sorry, Gail?
Hmm? What?
We don't even have the plans to know anything, so.
We've looked at them, we know,
You-
we've been told what they are. I'm saying that maybe before we vote, that they would take another look at it, understanding what the abutters are
Yes,
concerned
I
about.
got it,
And come
okay.
back with maybe some slightly revised.
Yes, I didn't understand, okay.
Instead of having a vote this evening. But that's just a suggestion that I'm seeing, reading the room where we are all over the place.
Thought you were making a motion.
Excuse me? Do you
Thought
want?
we made that as a motion.
Oh.
You're not
I
gonna
took
get
it as
any action
Okay.
unless
I
you
took
make
it
a
as
motion.
conversation, not a motion.
It was a conversation. Okay, I'm gonna make that motion. I'm gonna make the motion to continue this meeting to a later date, if,
A date certain,
a date certain,
next month.
next month. Giving the applicant the opportunity to come back after listening to the abutters and the concerns here with a plan that will be revised to better accommodate the site and the abutter.
Jack, what's the date in December that we meet? Do you know offhand? I think it's the 5th.
Fifth. Tuesday's the 5th.
Okay, thank you.
That was my motion.
I'll second the motion for discussion purposes.
Thank you.
Can we add to that motion
You
that
can
we
do
get a
whatever you
complete,
want.
that we get a complete
You can-
packet?
Now we can discuss the
For-
motion on any factor, and she can revise it if she wants to. And that's me.
Are you okay?
We'll find out. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen.
What was it about silencing cell phones?
I-
Alan?
This will not silence.
This is medical alert, so I said,
Oh.
okay. I didn't mean to stress you out.
I'm good.
Really?
That's one opinion.
Damn thing. Excuse me. Don't put that in the
We should
minutes.
rewind this whole night and start over. Oh,
Oh,
goodness.
God. Anyhow, thank you.
So can that be put in?
Yes.
That we get
Yes.
the diagram of what.
That would
No,
be
it says
what
they would come
building.
back with a revised plan,
Oh,
so that's
They have
there.
that option.
okay, thank you.
Oh, it's an option?
They have an option for us to vote tonight or to postpone it to the December meeting. Right? That would be their choice.
We got a motion to postpone. If you're gonna amend it, I have to approve it too, since I seconded it. So
No, there's
Be careful.
there's no amendment yet. Continue this to the next meeting, ZBA meeting of December 5th, for them to reconsider?
Return with a plan incorporating the abutters' concerns.
Plan and elevations, please.
And not necessarily addressing all their concerns, just taking them into account, I think would be a better way of putting it.
Correct. And when you think about the property to the east is even closer to them They're like 4 or 5 feet from their property line. And so that's why they stayed back probably from that side to 12 feet, whatever it was.
12 feet.
Say that again?
Well, if you look at their proposed site plan in the package, the distance on the left and the right were different,
8 and 12.
8 and 12. Now, why did they have 8 on that one side and 12 on the other? Probably the 12 is because the adjacent building, house, is like 4 or 5 feet from that property line.
Closer.
It's closer. Now, would you feel better, does 2 feet make a difference, like 10 feet on each side? Rather than 12. Still the same, but it moves the house a little further away from
By 2
the
feet.
abutter that was spoke. Now, is that gonna make a substantial difference in his shading effect? Not hardly. Not in the winter months because of the angle of the sun.
People are cutting the trees down on the hill.
Say what?
They're cutting the trees down behind their house on the hill,
Yeah.
on Moosecott Black.
Who is?
117.
Yes.
He's putting a garage in there.
Yeah, you can dig right in, it's theirs.
Yeah.
Yep, so you look at their house and all the trees are gone
That's their
and
property.
the sun is
But I
in
wouldn't
and
recommend cutting it.
it opens it up, it's
That's their
breathing.
property.
These
Right, they can do
houses
Oh,
can't breathe.
I can see where that can
That's
happen,
amazing.
but not something I'd recommend, but
All right,
other
so-
than that.
It's a metal shed.
Getting back on track, we have a motion, we have a second, we have a friendly amendment. Have you agreed to that, Alan?
Okay, let me read what I wrote from what those two said. It's the motion to continue this to the next meeting to the ZBA meeting of December 5th for the applicant to return with a plan and elevation taking the abutters' concerns into account.
Thank you.
All right.
Now, it's giving them the option though, you said. Are you saying they don't have to?
No, if they want to resolve this evening, then we will vote. I just thought there was too much up in the air to vote. That was my opinion. They
Okay.
may have a different opinion. So I would think that they could have an option.
Well, that's true. And what's the alternative of that is a denial. Because I'll make that motion.
Am
We-
I still able to, oh, it's closed.
Sorry, the meeting is hearing is closed.
Are we allowed to ask them that one question?
No,
No.
We're
Can't.
not,
closed, not,
Okay.
because we just told them they can't vote.
Then I guess they don't.
You can reopen the public hearing again and ask them
we
the
have,
question.
we have a motion and second on the floor, Alan. Do we want to withdraw it, or, we need to do something to resolve the pending motion?
What does the maker and the seconder, the person who seconded want to do with the motion? If you want to talk
We
to
don't
them.
have to make it an
That'd be
option.
Huh?
I said, we don't need to make it an option. We can, that's our, I'll
So,
take that
Yeah,
back.
if
my
we
vote.
vote,
It's
if we
my-
vote on your pending motion,
Yeah.
it's not an option,
It's not
that's
an
what's gonna happen. If you withdraw it and want to reopen the public hearing, I'd leave, again, I'd leave it to those who made the
I hate to drag
motion.
things out, but I just think it's gonna be a lot of back and forth here.
My concern-
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
would you move the
Whoops.
motion?
No, I have a concern that I want to express, is that this same application or the same plan was approved in 2021 by this same board with, now, I don't know for certain, but I'm guessing that the abutters were here then. I don't know if they were here at the meeting, but they lived there at that time as well. And to deny it now, there'd have to be, in my mind, there would have to be some good justification. It was approved once, we'd have to, I mean, we'd almost have to find an error in what we did before.
But I'm not
In my
looking to
opinion.
deny right now.
I think
I
your
agree,
point is
Gail.
well taken, Gail.
I agree.
I don't think you'd have to reconsider it, the prior hearing at all.
If nothing's changed.
Well, they're incorporating an
No,
earlier
because it's a
plan.
new
This is
public
not a
hearing.
This is not a de novo kind of proceeding then, if we're bringing in a previous plan. I think Gail's point is well taken. We set ourselves up for what could be an error on our part. I for one will just reiterate what I said before. I think we've gotten too far into the weeds of the architectural details, and these are problems that are really not the purview. We're deciding on the building envelope and the building placement, and the architectural details are not really the purview of this board, despite what Alan may say.
And Len, if there's anybody who always agrees with that, because I always say that, I am going to respectfully disagree for one reason. It's not the architecture, it's not anything about the building except for the height. The height has become an issue for the abutter. That is the only thing I'm concerned about. Because, and thank you for taking that side.
Okay, but
Because you know I'm very big on that.
But
I've
there
had
would
many abutters who have come in before to complain, and part of their explanation or their concerns was height, and applications were still approved. You know, and I'm not saying, I'm, in many parts, we're probably comparing apples to oranges, but the height was an issue, and it was still approved.
And they're
An
well,
issue for
and they're
ours.
well within the height limits of our zoning
True,
ordinance.
that's true.
They're under 35 feet.
So,
Yep.
I can
Could I
withdraw
ask
my
a-
motion.
could I
was
ask-
just trying to, you know.
could I ask a question just for clarification?
Certainly.
So the ZBA approved the initial variance, which was this request.
No, they had plans.
They had plans, the one I saw on the phone, right? Okay, so this equals the plans, let's say, this little plot plan, okay? Then it expired, and then they came back in October, and we know nobody showed up. And so we're talking about the plans on the phone, and this has never changed since 2021.
Correct.
When you originally said, okay, 8 feet on one side, 12 on the other. The 30-foot frontage is fine because that's within the variance. Okay. Thank you. Just had to check.
I'm going to withdraw my motion.
Alan, I'm going to withdraw your second.
All right, so where are we now, folks? What do we want to do?
I'm going for it. Don't kick me if this goes bad. I'm going to motion.
Not hard.
I am going to motion to approve the variance. Let me prepare this, I'm sorry.
Excuse me one moment.
Yes.
How much of this is our responsibility to take into consideration what the abutters' position
Well-
is on this? I mean,
We
we
can
asked them
consider,
to...
we can put the weight on it that we want to. My consideration is that we approved it before with, you know what I mean?
Yes, got it. Okay, thank you.
And indeed, if the abutters have continued objections, there is still, you know, a lengthy approval process that they've got to go through with planning, et cetera, which might deal better with heights, elevations, and after the abutters have got forms, you know, to carry their case forward
Very
if
good.
they wish.
Thank you. Okay.
I don't think they will because this doesn't got planted.
I was just
No,
looking, I
no.
don't think it does.
So what you take into consideration, and this is what I do, is, do they meet the criteria?
But we also have to consider the abutters and their reasonable
But
point.
it doesn't dictate.
But there is no
It doesn't the abutters, we consider them, but it doesn't dictate our decision.
It doesn't dictate the decision, and there is no height variances.
Right. They're within the range
Of-
of the zoning ordinance allowance,
Yes.
so.
And no fear and substantial relationship exists between the general public purposes of the ordinance provision, blah, blah, blah. That's one of the criterias.
Which one is that? No.
A, only special
Oh,
condition.
All right, were you winding up a motion there, Denise?
I did, I got distracted. I motion to approve the Smith Family Trust applicant owners that are seeking a variance to build a single-family home on a non-conforming lot, 8 feet from each side property boundary, whereas 15 feet is required, and I believe what is presented here is 8 feet on one side and 12 on the other. Is that correct? So I'm going to change that to 8 feet and 12 feet, whereas 15 is required. This concerns section 4.3.
Actually, Denise, if you look at that map, there was an 8 feet, there was a stairway or a porch that was 8 feet from the property line. You look at that sketch. A small piece of it, but I think you still.
As presented.
By the site
As presented,
plan.
yeah, proceed.
Okay,
8
yeah,
feet
8,
there.
12, I got it, sorry. Thank you, Len. Thank you, Len. With a note that, no, I'm gonna just forget the note.
Finding?
Finding, well, you want me to go through that, huh? Where's my little list?
Just summary.
Not contrary to the public interest. The lots down there are very small. It's going to fit into the neighborhood because of the size. It's definitely going to look better than it has in the past. The spirit of the ordinance is observed for the same reason. Granting the variance would not do substantial justice. You know, the abutters' houses are close on both sides. If they had the clearances, everybody had met setbacks, this wouldn't be an issue. Surrounding properties will not be diminished. I agree with that compared to what's there. And unnecessary hardship if ordinance is enforced. You're going to have a lot that sits there empty.
Are you done?
Okay, we need a second.
I second it.
Further discussion from anyone? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 4-1, motion passes. You have your variance, folks.
I will note that you can go lower than what was presented here this evening. Okay, point taken? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, any
So, you don't know
Yes.
the first one? was
Any
approved.
correspondence?
You still
Yes,
feel
I-
strong
Nope,
enough that
nope.
Whoop,
I wanna
no,
talk.
wait a minute, need
moving on this
need
today.
to
I don't
do
have
one
to
more bit of
today,
business
I think-
before we do.
It was a totally new application
I mean, about planning?
and a totally
I
different.
want to talk about
Well,
planning.
yeah, we
Okay.
can talk about that informally. I want to talk about the schedule for
I
2024.
I didn't even think
Jack, I'd
about
like
that.
to
Okay,
know-
Alan,
Should have
Judy,
mentioned it to me again.
need to talk about the draft schedule for 2024 because it has us meeting on Election Day, November 5th,
Can't do
2020.
that.
Or that ain't gonna work. I would propose that, we move the meeting for November 2020 or to the 12th.
I second it.
You better
The 12th.
take and confer with staff
We don't have to
sure
make
that we
motions
don't
for
have
those,
a
we just have to come to a
conflict.
consensus and pass it along.
Let them determine it.
All right,
Just
but,
tell them we got a problem.
yeah, otherwise, that-
Thank you.
how about everybody else for July 2nd, which is July
Oh, I'm not
4th
gonna
is
be here.
midweek.
That's fine.
I won't be here.
Alan,
Why
you're
is
gonna be
somebody so
around for July
crazy to
2?
even do that? Excuse me.
Yeah,
July 2nd.
I like.
You're
it.
gonna be here?
No,
Oh.
no, I mean, I like the idea of moving it.
Okay, so, what,
Doesn't matter to me.
I just say we skip it.
no, I got a calendar up
She
here.
rocks and rolls.
Well, July is a pretty slow month.
It can be.
If it can, if
I was
it,
gonna say, other boards do,
I'm gonna go home
like
and
the
read
planning
my
board,
senior journal.
they take one of their meetings off in August, but they have another meeting. We wouldn't have any meetings.
No.
Conservation Commission had 3 months in a row, with no meetings.
I brought that
July.
up about the trees because, you know what, it's let so much light and area and air of exposure all around that house.
Oh, yeah.
The two properties on the right, the two across the street, everybody benefited. I say, cut the whole side street down and put in a,
all right,
put in a
remember
ripped
Judy
wall.
that we're still
Yeah,
recording.
really.
Yeah, we're recording.
We're still recording
we're
here.
still here. We're still present in the meeting.
Okay, just let me finish the schedule thing. So how many do we have who won't be here on July 4th? 1, 2, 3.
Well, let's reschedule. We won't have, unless Jason's here, we won't have a quorum. It's a high risk for no
All
quorum.
right, I will suggest July 9th, which is the next Tuesday. I didn't see a problem with any of the other dates, so, oh, wait a minute, let me check September for Labor Day. Let's see, when is Labor?
It's the day
That's
after.
the day after Labor Day. How about that for
I'll be here.
everybody?
No, no big
How
deal.
come we have to meet on the first Tuesday of the month? Huh?
We always
Don't
have.
mess that up. I finally got it figured out.
Tuesday's the second day after Sunday.
Well, yeah, but the first one of the month, I'm like,
Well, thank you
okay.
for the calendar lessons, but do we want to change it from the 3rd to the 10th in
No.
September?
No.
If we have a, all right, we'll leave it at that.
Okay. Phew.
All right, with that, motion to
No,
adjourn?
no, please.
Oh.
I'd like to talk about ordinances because they're gonna be, the planning board meeting is meeting on Thursday to discuss what they're gonna bring to the voters, correct? Wanna talk a little bit more about that? Well, they're having a workshop and they have invited 2 people from this board, if we want to attend. I would like to attend and I would like some feedback from my fellow board members on what kind of variances or changes or alterations or that we would consider. Next year, I will request a little bit more time to do this. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples that I have come up with. One of them is the nuisance ordinance.
The what?
Nuisance ordinance, which would have to do with sound and how vague it is. And is that something you think the town should look at?
If you go online to the city of Nashville, they have a great sound ordinance online.
True,
Is it better than Manchester's?
yes.
Okay.
Specifying decibel levels, et cetera, at certain ranges.
I mean, we're
I
not gonna
think-
write it, we would just bring it to them that we would like that
The
looked at.
police
Is that
enforce it
correct?
now.
Well, look at, you can give them suggestions on what to include.
Okay, well, I came prepared.
Did you?
You guys all thought you were heading out early.
Did you read what they had?
Who?
The correspondence of actions, proposed amendments for the workshop?
No, nobody gave me that.
They don't publish
Yeah,
that.
this is the thing.
They don't
Jack.
publish it.
Well, we have an issue, Jeff.
Because it's a workshop.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Justin, I made this because of the day that I stumbled into a meeting upstairs on this. The ZBA should be included in these preliminary workshops on the zoning amendments. When I went into this meeting, it was Collis Adams, Barbara Griffin, Colleen,
Then I got sucked in after that.
you know, from the zoning, and I said, you know, why isn't zoning included in this if we are the ones whose remit is to interpret this ordinance?
And this was brought to the planner last year.
I
At
brought
this
up a
meeting.
couple of issues when they asked me to speak.
But that's my main one, I think that, you know, just from a procedural standpoint going forward, either the chairman, the vice chairman, or some representative of the ZBA should be included in all of these preliminary discussions.
Well, we are invited for Thursday.
Damn
How do
nice
you-
of them.
How do you,
I know, but at
When-
least we're a step further than we were last
when
year.
did that invite go out? And who did it go to?
Who did it go to?
Patty put out a notice, I
Yeah,
think, just saying if the zoning board was gonna go, that it was happening. And she said, if there's gonna be more than 3
Today.
members of the, no, it was.
No, but it went out today, didn't it?
No.
No, yesterday?
Yes.
Like yes,
Oh, sorry,
yesterday.
yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yesterday.
it's
If there was gonna be more than 2, if there's gonna be a quorum, which is 3 from the zoning board, then she needed to post it. So the whole zoning board could have shown up, and she would have posted it as a zoning board meeting.
I just have to reference, I gotta go read my emails again.
Yeah.
Because I don't remember getting it.
And it's late notice. It's, I think that it
Well,
would have been nice to be known,
two
to
or
know
3
about this
days
ahead of
before,
time.
yeah.
Because then we could have said, hey, at one of these meetings, let's spend 30 minutes discussing this and what this board would like us to present.
Well, here's a good example. Attached ADUs.
Yeah.
Why, we've granted how many variances for detached ADUs, and why don't we just change it to say ADU?
That was one
Well,
line on my
you're
list, to be
talking
honest, I
about
wanted
lot-
to talk to you people about.
Well, I got cornered by New Hampshire Housing Finance Agency today about attached ADUs in Goffstown.
How about the size?
I don't think it's the same.
Size is small, right?
Do
We could
we
go 1,000
really
feet, yeah.
need, are there
Greenland is
towns
700.
that do ADUs without the
Uh-huh.
requirement
Greenland
of
is
special
700 for an
exception?
ADU.
Or 8?
Yes,
We're 800.
yes, there are.
You know, because there is something on
I
ADU.
missed it, I apologize.
So I
I'm
was
so
gonna say,
sorry.
an ADU is a perfect example of the guy who came in tonight looking for an ADU as part of new construction, but still had to get a special exception.
Yes.
Because the only way we allow ADUs is
I mean,
by
he's still gonna pay an
special.
impact fee and everything else, but, bottom line is that as long as the septic system, adheres to it, and he knows
But-
it.
And that's taken care of in the permit.
In the code.
So
yeah.
why do they have to come here for a special exception?
Because
Because
that was,
that's-
that was the way the zoning
That was
ordinance
the way it
was
was-
set
it
up.
was
Are you
set up.
taking notes because of my, or I'm gonna have to bring this
Yeah.
up, huh? Okay.
No, I'm good.
Should we, I'm gonna be there Thursday.
I have
So-
a public hearing on Thursday for the Manchester ZBA, so I won't be here.
Okay, so we're looking at, we'll bring up the nuisance, it's called a nuisance ordinance, is what I found it under. And mostly about sound.
So who's gonna enforce the nuisance ordinance?
That would be your job.
Yeah. So I would have to go around with the architect meter and say, okay, you've exceeded your, to what time?
Well, if you have somebody complaining,
Yep,
they have a measurement.
I have those.
You can put it
So-
on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
can
you want it
put
to
it
be
on your
accurate, is
phone.
that accurate?
But it's not,
Yes.
it's not as accurate as the architect. Mine's calibrated once a month.
It would have
So,
to be something that's.
But
Somebody
I
would
just
stand
think
up
right
in
now it's too
court.
vague, so then
Exactly.
people call the police and say it's too loud.
By the time the police show up, they lower it.
You know, if it bothers you, okay, well, come on, I could irritate a neighbor mowing my lawn.
But they can do
I
it
mean,
up until 10 o'clock at night. Why not to dusk? Newbury does theirs till dusk. Nothing after dusk.
No, that's retarded.
Yeah, I know it is.
That's totally. Yeah, that,
Oh, what a fun night.
Carrying on. This is development that's got commercial, industrial, and residential. We have to take that into consideration, I think.
We have to be careful when
About
we talk about developments.
things.
Certain things, yes.
Yeah, we don't wanna,
No, I understand that. I'm just saying that that's one of the things.
Hypothetically.
Is, I just think we need, that should be spelled out a little bit better.
yeah, in general application.
Of course, I was not thinking of it in any other way.
Okay.
The ADU, I don't know what you are, but the ADU
Just making sure.
units, about coming in for a special exception if they meet the criteria. Is that something we want to bring to?
Because,
They have to
because
apply
in the
for a
table
permit
of,
anyways at his
Right,
office.
in the table of uses,
And he
it
deter- and
requires
you
them to have
determined-
one,
I
period.
determined
But I
if
know,
they're-
but is
they're
this
in-
something we
in-
want to bring to them to say, why are we doing this? Could this be changed?
If they meet all the other,
Yeah.
Yeah, if they meet the
As long as they
size.
meet all the criteria,
ask them.
okay. I mean, I'm asking if the board, I'm not representing the board, but I am. You know, I want your blessing if I go to this.
Well, just like you, when we asked for, after the fact, for a 4-bedroom design, on his, he had 3-bedroom, over there on 156 North Mass.
Yeah.
He finally showed up with it. Brandon was the holdup. So Brandon came in, he gave it to me, and all approvals from the state. I said, okay, now I'll go and inspect. I'm inspecting him Thursday with a third-party inspector. So,
Good job. I'm glad you're doing that.
Okay, but here's the thing on ADUs, maybe to reduce the amount of ADUs we get. Special exception only if it's a detached ADU, and otherwise, if you meet
No.
all of the other criteria, you just, allow ADUs
Well-
by right. Because I believe state statute basically says
But if
it's
you,
by right,
detached.
correct?
by right, yeah.
Doesn't say anything but by right and size.
No. You could have 1,000 square foot ADU, and it's, you can go for special exception, you can agree to it and accept it.
It's hard to meet criteria.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. That would be a hard sell.
Yes,
If
it
you
would.
follow our regulations.
Correct.
And our rules.
And we've had a couple cases of larger ADUs come before this board. What did we do?
Turn them down, as I
We turned them
recall.
down.
So, but
So,
it's a worthwhile discussion to have, I would say.
but the thing is, if the state statute says 1,000 square feet, why do we have to have something different?
True.
Why do we have to even modify it or whatever? It just causes problems.
It comes, or maybe they're thinking that it's becoming, instead of a 1-bedroom, it's becoming a 2-bedroom
or a duplex.
or a duplex.
It's not a duplex. It has to be attached to the house and the owner has to live in on the property.
No,
Correct?
no,
No, not anymore.
no.
No.
Not anymore. That's been pulled out.
Yep.
Yep. The owner does not
State
have to
pulled
live
that
there.
out. State pulled that out.
There are some communities that still have that in there though.
Yeah.
So why
I
get
wish we
too
did.
far from the law when it says by right you can have an ADU? You can have one up to 1,000 square feet and stop there, time out. Because they still have to get a permit, and if they don't meet those criteria, they end up here.
Right.
Attached or just simply an ADU?
Doesn't, just an ADU.
Just an ADU.
Because the state statute does not state that it has to be attached to the house.
But the towns do have the
Town
option
ordinances do that.
of putting their own restrictions on it.
Welcome.
Well, I think as a board, I mean, does anybody have a preference? I mean, I just, I don't want to present something that this board is not in agreement with.
Well, my thoughts is, an ADU is intended not to be so much an apartment than, well, an ADU. It's different than an apartment.
But they
Yeah,
utilize the
Well,
word
that's
That's what
dwelling.
the government doesn't say that.
Yeah, see, they utilize that word dwelling, which is a dwelling, a
Right.
place to be,
Yeah.
place to live.
The governor states that an ADU can be rented out to a third party, not just an in-law.
Oh, yeah.
Right, that
Well,
I know,
yeah.
that I did know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, of course.
And I think
Barn sheds, whatever.
what long happens is, state does a statute, and people have a tendency to massage it to some kind of special condition that they have in their town. God bless. But it doesn't make any sense. Because if you go to, the only people that don't have a zoning ordinance in New Hampshire are the unincorporated townships in New Hampshire. And if you have to try to get a permit in an unincorporated township,
Good
then
luck.
you have to go to the county commissioner office. Like in Coos County, you have to go up a,
Coos County, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, well,
no,
unless
that's not, that's,
you need a state inspector from the state. Has to go up and inspect it, like in Dorchester, right outside Plymouth. There's no town zoning, there's no town planning, there's nothing there.
that's why I
All
like
right, but
Millsfield.
coming.
I like the idea of
Let's go
following the state mandate that the state sets. Of course,
Well-
town by town can be adjusted, but I like that, following the state.
But again,
And the
I can
guidelines are
see
there.
with the housing crush that we have in town, if you went up to 1,000 square feet, all of a sudden you're going to have, you may not call it a duplex, but that's
What
what
it's
the
gonna
hell
be.
it's gonna amount
Basically,
to.
Yeah,
You know, 1,000 square feet.
I mean, half these houses are only 800 square feet anyways. Well,
I don't know in terms of realistically getting anything into the zoning ordinance changes this year that it's going to happen, but I think it's a worthwhile discussion. The other one that I brought up at this meeting I bumbled into, which is something I've been saying for a long time, and this is a sort of a, you wanna call it a blue sky, pie in the sky thing, is come up with some sort of code that covers the needs of the Pinardville piece of town and doesn't require a trip to the ZBA for every half inch you need to go into a setback, because how many properties in that end of town come even close?
You could compare that to Central Goffstown as well. You see a lot of those
I
coming
get
in.
that, but I think that's just gonna create more problems. Because, I mean, yes, they'll probably end up getting their variance, special exception, or whatever very easily, but those types of changes need to be monitored.
Yes, I agree.
So they still need to be on record, have their permits, have their special exceptions, their variances, or whatever.
They need to
Well,
toe the
I'm saying-
line, so they don't abuse it.
But define the line a bit differently for that piece of
Okay,
town than you do, say, for the R1, 1 acre, et cetera ones. That's what I'm thinking. I agree. I can think of a couple, I won't throw my own family under the bus, but I can think of a couple of locations in Pinardville of, you know, where things get done with no permits under the theory of, you know,
I find that every day.
ask for forgiveness afterward,
Well,
but
they do that because we don't do anything about it. Have we ever denied, we've denied one that was done beforehand, and we denied their variance or application. And otherwise, we approve it because they've already done it.
So do we-
I
so-
personally do not
consequences.
approve anything just because they've already done it.
There's just
so
no
do we need,
consequences.
I
what
approve it
mechanism?
based on the merits only.
So do we
I
need to
can-
talk
I can
about a
have them take
mechanism
everything
for
out, too.
enforcement, whether it's
We had one, we did.
fines, or
Yep.
how do we deal with
I
that?
don't know. I think that's a discussion.
Well, I
for
have
another time.
one, we'll probably end up going to court. We have Primex on our side. You know, I talked to the lawyer, and it was a flipper on
Be
such
careful.
and such street.
Mm.
And anyways, it was a height issue. And it was only supposed to be X amount in there, no living space, and now they've applied for second meter, more living space because of good old college. And Bill and I have stuck right to our guns on that one.
Mhm.
Now, I said, nope, I'm willing to go to court. And And Primex said, okay, and
Yeah.
we'll do it if you want us
The
to.
chances are, nothing will ever happen to the, I'll call it the Wibbegon contractors that do this kind of
No.
stuff. Unless you license contractors in New Hampshire.
Correct, that's never gonna happen.
And that's never gonna happen. In the live free or die state, it's never gonna happen.
No. I mean, I grew up.
Well,
with
they take the
licensing,
risk
I love
of losing an awful lot of money if they do something wrong and they have to pay to have it demoed. So right now, I have discussed the nuisance ordinance, particularly sound, because we don't feel that there's enough information on that. The ADU, if we meet all criteria, do they need a special
Exception.
exception, right?
Yep.
That was another thing. We're gonna leave we're not in agreement on the size of the ADUs, I'm leaving it the way it is. What's the one I really wanted to talk about? There's another one. Help me out here, guys. I have no
Sheds.
clue. Pardon?
Sheds,
No,
trailers,
no,
cars,
no.
On sheds, ADUs?
well,
No.
Setbacks?
No, sheds are sheds?
Sheds are sheds.
ADUs are
I just
living-
had it
Sheds
too,
are
right before I
accessory
started
structure.
talking.
ADU.
Should've written it down.
Accessory structure?
Or accessory building.
I thought it fell under the ADU. So
ADU is a living,
ADU is just
ADU is a
water,
dwelling unit.
toilet,
ADU is a
electricity.
dwelling unit.
It is, dwelling, living,
What other things
electricity.
have been brought up to
Okay.
us lately? that
You
have
could
been
have bunk
issues?
beds in a bedroom.
Well, they're here all
Yeah.
the time.
Oh,
like a
okay,
camp, yeah.
okay.
Oh,
dwelling unit.
hello, the split zones.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Once again, I think we need to tread lightly
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
because of.
You know what? No, I don't think so. It has nothing to do with that. This has been brought up in the past.
Tread lightly for what reason?
Never mind.
Never mind.
No. Okay.
The split zones,
We can't talk about it.
why can't we?
Just gotta tread lightly.
I'll give you my This Is America speech, and I'll talk about anything I damn please.
Go wave that flag.
Yeah, are we ready to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'm listening.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.